Hi guys, welcome to the vlog right in Wednesday. I'm really excited to be here. I've actually started this vlog over now. This is my fourth time and I have yet to get past the introduction. So hopefully this is the one. I keep having to yell at kids who think that they have a million questions to ask me, even while their dad is right downstairs, and I keep giving them the evil mom, get out of here, and I didn't think that should make internet television when it will be on there forever. Um, Anyways, so I have 11 questions to get through today, and I'm excited. Hopefully I don't talk forever and your ears are bleeding by the end of this. Hopefully I can be concise, although that's not exactly my reputation. So let's try this. The first question, not book related at all, but it is super sweet, and it's from Kaylee. She wants to know where I get my clothes, and I really am so flattered by that compliment because most of the time I feel like I'm this mixture between like a bag lady, like homeless person, a gypsy, and a gothic Johnny Cash fan because sometimes it's all black head to toe. So, going by that unique mixture of craziness, thank you very much. Usually I shop at Torrid. That is my go-to shop, and I wear a lot of dresses and skirts because I am not a pants person. I do not like pants or jeans. I tolerate them because I live in Nebraska, and like 5 months out of the year we have 3 feet of snow. But in general, I have an odd body shape that hates pants. I can't keep them up, save for yoga pants. And I do love a good pair of yoga pants, especially if they can last 3 or 4 days without being washed. Those are like gold around here. But so yeah, mostly I'm at Torrid, and they not only have cute clothes, they have cute accessories. And I'm all about the accessories because if you can find, cute earrings or necklace or whatever, you don't have to have a huge wardrobe. You can just change out your accessories. I am a student of Tim Gunn's Guide to Style, which I don't even think it's on anymore. But he used to have this show on Bravo, and he said like each woman needs about 12 items of clothing in her closet and just to switch it out. And I really believe in that because if you have 12 cute pieces of clothing, then first of all, your wardrobe budget isn't huge. You can buy nicer things and you can update. Like, you don't have to hold on to a piece forever. You can update it because you only have 12 or something like that. So, anyways, I'm at Torrid a lot, and I also will find some things at Target because who doesn't find clothes at Target? All my kids are Target models because I can shop for them and grocery shop and shop for the house all at once. It's awesome. Target is amazing. And then I also have some Old Navy things, but kind of hit or miss for me there. I really can come out looking like a bag lady. I'm not kidding you. I don't know what it is about that store. Other people look cute. I look like I should be sitting on the ground with a tin cup asking for money. So anyways, and where's the other place? Oh, Lane Bryant. Every once in a while I will shop at Lane Bryant. Although to me they're kind of pricey for what they offer. So they have good sales, and underwear. That weird. They're Cacique. Is that how you say it? Cacique brand. Anyways, that's too much information. Moving on. Oh, and then she wanted to know, because I was like, ask me about my tater tot casserole today on my blog. And let me tell you, it's a winner. It is. But first I'll talk a little bit about meal planning, because this is something I actually feel really strongly about as a mom, as a homemaker. When Zach and I got married, I did not know how to cook at all. I couldn't even cook frozen pizza. I made it for him once when we were dating, and I totally kept the cardboard on under the pizza. I was like, how nice, they give you a tray. No, that's wrong. That is very wrong. Zach's like, are you trying to set the house on fire? Maybe. I don't know what I'm doing. I could make macaroni and cheese out of the box, and I could make ramen noodles when we got married. Like, seriously, that's all I could make. my dad, it was like his biggest concern. He's like, what's that boy gonna eat? I didn't have an answer for him. In fact, he ate some really, really, really bad meals. And he also, like, we had different expectations going into marriage about meals. And, not that I wasn't prepared to be the chef. I was, but like I told him one day, this is a story that gets recycled a lot. People think it's hilarious. I don't think it's that funny, but I'll share it with you. I told him I was gonna make him breakfast one morning. Like he used to have to get up like 5:30 to go to work, and so I told him I was like, I'll make you breakfast tomorrow morning because he'd get up and he'd shower. And I was still going to school. We got married my senior year of college, so I was still going to school. So I didn't have class till like 10 a.m. or whatever. And we didn't have kids, so I slept in. And one day I was like, I'll make you breakfast. And he got so excited. He was thrilled. He's like, jackpot, I married the best woman there is. And so I said, just wake me up. When you get in the shower, just wake me up and I'll get up and I'll go to the kitchen and I'll make you breakfast. So that's what happened. And he got in the shower and I went to the kitchen where I proceeded to pull out, which I thought I was being really helpful. I mean, he had to be up really early. I pulled out like a to-go thing of orange juice and a granola bar. And then on a piece of paper next to it, I wrote breakfast and then an arrow so that he wouldn't miss it. And then I went back to bed. So he came out of the shower and he's like, did you make breakfast already? I was like, yes, it's on the table. And so he went into the dining room, which we like lived in a box because we lived in married student housing and it was like 10 feet from our bedroom. He went to the table and he's like, what is this? I'm like, that's your breakfast. That's what I made for you. And now it is a running joke because his idea of making breakfast was like biscuits and gravy from scratch. And mine is to set out a granola bar. So take that into stride, folks. If you get married, different expectations can cause problems. Be clear up front what you want. I should have said, I will set out breakfast for you. And he should have known better than to expect me to cook something at 5:30 in the morning. So anyways, where was I going? That was a tangent. Anyways, so I didn't know how to cook when we first got married. And I learned the very hard and long way. And then we had a ton of kids, and it wasn't, all of a sudden we had a ton of kids. They just came really fast. I don't even know where they came from. They were just here all one day. We just had 3, then 4 kids. But when they're so little, it's not like you can take them to the restaurant when you don't feel like cooking, or like we're at dance a lot during the week. We go like during the summer we go 4 nights a week, and takeout one of those nights is fine. But I want healthy kids. Like I want my kids to live a long time and not get cancer from frozen pizza or something weird. So meal planning became vital for us very early on, and not only that is that you save so much money when you meal plan. If you're like constantly getting takeout or just throwing together meals at the last minute, I noticed for us that we tended to spend more, and I wanted to save. It used to be when Striker was just 1, and so there were the 3 kids, but they were little, and the 2 girls were older, or the older 2 were girls, not boys, because boys eat more. But I had our budget worked out so that each meal that we ate at home only cost us $5 for the whole meal for 2 weeks. And so I would spend $100 on meal planning, and that would cover us for $100 for all our groceries for 2 weeks. And so $50 of that would be meals. And then, am I saying that right? 5 times? Yeah. Anyways, and then the other 50 was like toilet paper or whatever. And I was really good at budgeting that. But now you can't do that. Now our family's bigger, the boys eat more, and groceries are so expensive. They're outrageous. And I complain about this all the time, but they are. So I probably spend about I've tripled my cost. I probably spend about $15 on a meal. But we also eat all fresh vegetables and all fresh fruit. I don't buy any canned. Well, occasionally I'll buy canned vegetables for a meal, but we don't. But I try to make everything as from scratch as I can and fresh as I can. That's kind of my food philosophy. So anyway, so how do I meal plan? It's very, very, very simple. And I'm blessed because my kids and my husband are adventurous eaters. So I make a meal plan for 2 weeks. This is a lot of explanation, sorry. I make a meal plan for 2 weeks and then I grocery shop for the majority of it the first week, and then the beginning of the second week I grab the fresh stuff or any, like the milk, whatever that we need for the second week, and it's a smaller grocery list. Okay, but so when I go through the week, I write out, I take a piece of paper and I divide it in half, like lengthwise, and then I make 7 boxes, really scientific, and then I write Monday through Sunday, and in that way there's like no repeats of meals in those 2 weeks. And so then I call it, I go around the world. And so I go like American. So let's have hamburgers on Monday night. And then Tuesday night's Italian. So we have pasta something. And it could be spaghetti, it could be lasagna. Like I don't do the same meal a month, but like you can switch it up. You know what I mean? Like you could do, I don't know, whatever. Like that, lasagna or spaghetti or fettuccine Alfredo or whatever. Then, so Monday, American, Tuesday, Italian, Wednesday, Chinese or Asian, and I'll do something Chinese or something Indian or something, something like African even, because we're very adventurous eaters, like I said. And those meals aren't hard to make. They're just, you just might have to look up a recipe, but they're honestly really easy to make. And like Chinese, like you can find P.F. Chang's Mongolian beef online. It's a cheap meal. Like you wouldn't believe how cheap it is if you get like the cheap cut of steak. And it's super, super easy and it's really delicious. My whole family loves it. And then I'll get like, this doesn't go with my fresh food diet, but I'll get like a frozen thing of egg rolls, and that's what we'll have for a meal. And so then Thursday is Mexican night. And so then I've gone around the world, and that could be tacos or enchiladas or fajitas or whatever you want to do. And then I'll also throw in a casserole at some point, which was our tater tot casserole. And then another night I will do a crock pot meal, because usually we're on the go and we need a crock pot meal. And then the last night is date night. And whether that means that going somewhere on a date or if we stay home, we have date night and we feed the kids earlier in the night, and then at dinner time and we sit down with them and then we eat like a romantic, it's not romantic, but you get the idea, like a meal together. And we'll even do like cheap pork chops that he grills or super cheap steaks. Like you can get like 2 charcoal steaks for $5. I mean, that's like our big date night, but we'll eat that later. So that's 7 meals, and then I do the same thing every week. It's super simple. That's just how I do it. I just know, like, okay, it's Mexican night, and like if you don't want to fall, if you dread Taco Tuesday, which I do, like I never want to be like, oh, it's Mexican night. I just switch them up. So if I do like Asian night on Tuesdays the first week, I do it on Thursdays the next week. Does that make sense? And then it's unpredictable. Nobody knows what we're gonna have but me. And so that's what I do. And then I'm also really forgiving with myself if I don't have the ingredients. Like say I decide, oh, okay, let's have Indian tonight, and I don't have meat. Well, like I don't need meat. I'll just put in potatoes and peas and tomatoes, like canned tomatoes, and peppers and onion, and like the potato is in the place of the meat. And anyways, or like breakfast, I always save eggs for breakfasty meals. Like, shoot, I didn't set anything out for meat. That happens a lot. I always forget to set meat out to thaw, and we don't use a microwave, so I don't have the option of defrosting something in the microwave. So I will be like, okay, I'll set this out. If it's not defrosted, we will just have eggs, and I'll do like pancakes for the kiddos and like a breakfast sandwich for Zach and me, or breakfast burritos, egg in a basket, which is when you do the egg in the middle of the bread. I don't know, something like that. So meal planning is really simple. You just have to go around the world. And if you don't like, if you're not adventurous, if you don't like all those foreign things, like maybe you don't like Asian or don't like cooking Asian, then just make 2 American nights. Like, have hamburgers one night and macaroni and cheese the other night, like fancy macaroni and cheese, like yummy macaroni and cheese, or barbecue, or pulled pork. Or a lot of times, and this is another thing that I do, if I know I'm doing a crock pot meal with like a big piece of meat, like a big pork butt or something, which are often on sale and very easy to cook, I know that will be 2 meals for us. And so I will do like tacos with that meat. I'll shred it all when it's after it's cooked, and I'll do like beef or pork tacos one night, and then the next night, because all my meat is already shredded and cooked, I'll dump a bunch of barbecue sauce on it and do barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. So, anyway, does that help? Does that make sense? It's super easy for me. I've just simplified it as much as I can, and then I stick to that formula. And like a casserole is fun because that can be, different every single week, and it could be like this coming week we have like a taco casserole, so we'll have 2 Mexican nights, but we like Mexican, so it's okay. And then my tater tot casserole, okay, this is delicious. It was like my favorite meal growing up as a kid, and so I'm excited to share with you because I made the grown-up version. So first you fry or cook, brown I guess it's called, a pound of hamburger with a half cup or a half onion chopped. You brown that, and once that's brown, then you add in a drained can of French style green beans and 1/4 cup of milk. Add salt and pepper to your liking. And then the original recipe calls for a can of cream of mushroom soup, but I hate with all my life. I hate mushrooms. And so instead of that, I made homemade gravy, like white gravy, and it's super easy. Just a 1/4 cup of butter and then a 1/4 cup of flour, and you make the roux, and then you add in 1 cup of milk, and you make it into a gravy. And then I added liquid smoke into mine because I thought it would be delicious and give it a smoky flavor. So then once that was made, I added it to the hamburger mixture and mixed that all up. And then, but you can use the can of cream of mushroom soup. It's way easier than the gravy. It's just not as good to me. And then you put it in a casserole pan and shred cheese over it. And the recipe I was going off from said 4 ounces of cheese. And so I did of cheddar cheese, but because I was upgrading it, I used 2 ounces of smoked Gouda and 2 ounces of white cheddar that my mom brought us back from Wisconsin, where her family is, and it was delicious. It was so good. And then you spread out a 32-ounce package of tater tots on the top, and super simple. And then you bake it in the oven for 30 minutes. Super good. My kids loved it. It was so easy to make, and it was like a classic that like had a grown-up taste to it. I didn't feel like I was eating kid food, if that makes sense. But my kids loved it, so. Okay, enough of making stuff. I told you I could talk about this stuff forever. Oh my gosh, 20 minutes into the video, and I haven't even gone over the questions yet about the books. So sorry. Okay, so first question, how is co-writing a book, how does that work? How does co-writing a book work? And it goes, right now I'm actually co-authoring 2 different books with 2 different authors. And one of the books is written in like alternative points of view. So the first chapter is from the girl, the second chapter is from the boy, third chapter is from the girl, and so on. So what we did was one of us took the girl point of view and one of us took the boy point of view, and then we just alternate chapters and points of view, which has seemed to work almost flawlessly because even though we have different voices as authors, so do the characters. The characters would naturally have different voices, and especially because they're boy and girl. So that's been very, very easy. And then then obviously we read the chapter when we get it back, and then I tweak the conversation to how my character would say it, and she does the same with hers, so that the conversation flows seamlessly and sounds like it's still from that character that's speaking. And then we also plot plan a lot together. Hey, where do you think this is going? Hey, I just wrote this in the chapter. Where do you see this going? Yeah, and actually it's just been really easy to write with her, like really, really easy. We just had the same vision for the book, so we got lucky. But I don't think if we wouldn't have, we would be writing the story together. Like, if we would have gotten into it and seen two totally different points of view or futures for the story, then I don't think we would have endeavored to write it together, because it wouldn't, we would have just each written our own book of, I don't know if that's true, but it just works out that way. And then the second book that I'm co-authoring is a little bit different, and it's very new, so we're still trying to figure it out. But it's written in third person, and so, like, for me, that's different anyways, because I usually always write in first person, and I feel most connected to the story in first person. But this is in third, and we're also alternating chapters, but I think that's only at the beginning, and I think we'll end up writing a lot of it together, side by side, because just how the story is. And so I guess I don't have the answer for that, but because we're still figuring it out. But it's a really good story. It's a really, really good story. I cannot wait to share it with you. I wanted to tease it yesterday, but it was going to have to be under the teaser. Completely secret project. You can't know the title or release date or anything else. So I was like, better keep that teaser on the down low. And then, okay, so the next question is Tristan from the Starbright series human? Because there's this feeling that maybe he's something more. And so obviously I can't get into everything coming up in this story, but Tristan, I will say this, Tristan is human, absolutely human, and he comes from a completely human family. All his brothers are human, his little sister's human, his parents are human. So yes, he is human. Is there maybe some things to come? I don't know, but for right now, he is human. Did I see The Host? And if I did, what did I think of Max Irons kissing aliens? Because if you know, Max Irons is absolutely my choice for Kieran. He has that perfect smirk down. He just embodies my idea of Kieran to me. And so I did not see The Host. I did read the book forever ago, but I haven't seen the movie yet. And I did see the previews, and it's intriguing to me because in my head, he is Kieran. He is living in my head with Eden and their idea of happily ever after. And so I wanted to see the movie because I wanted to see him interact. Like, I wanted to see him move around and talk and be, because to me it just was this, I don't know, an interesting idea because he's not Max Iron, he's Kieran. But I will stop being crazy. I do want to see the movie just because I like the book. So I'll have to get back to you when I see it. And if I'm like, stop kissing that alien, you're cheating on Eden. We'll see. Okay, and then if I could choose any fictional character to be my best friend, who would it be and why? And I guess I wasn't sure if this question meant like any fictional character in the realm of fiction, or if she meant one of my characters. So to say that all of my characters are currently my best friends, is that weird? Is that like crazy? Because they really are. They completely live up in my head, and we talk and we have fun, and no, I'm not that crazy, but they are, I don't know if I could pick a best friend out of my characters. Like, probably all the females represent some part of me that I'm writing to the world, that I'm exposing. So in that way, they could all be my friends. I don't know, Phoenix. I would love to be friends with Phoenix because I just picture him so fun, and we would get in a lot of trouble. And Avalon too. I feel like Avalon would be a really good friend. Haley in Love and Decay is super snarky, and I kind of love her. She would be a good friend. And so would Piper from Starbright series. She is just really fun and outgoing, so we would have a lot of fun. And then, if you didn't mean in my books, if you meant like in the realm of fiction, then probably, I mean, I would totally be best friends with Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. Like, we would be BFFs. We'd do each other's hair. We'd go on long walks together. She could take me traveling around England with all her pounds, thousands and thousands of pounds a year that she gets from Mr. Darcy. And also, I would choose Veer from The Unmaking of Hunter Kennedy. It's one of my all-time favorite books, and if you haven't read it, you need to read it because it is amazing. It's a fantastic book, and she is like the sweetest thing ever. So Veer, those are my fictional best friends. If that answers the question. And then, what is the one character that most depicts me? And I've said this before, but Eden is really this very exposed version of me. And which I used to say that a lot, and then people started hating Eden in a lot of reviews, so I wasn't as open about it as I once was. But I don't know if because she was my first real emotional character, if that's why she's most like me, or it was easier to write something I knew and I know myself, and so I don't know why. Like, I thought that that would be how it was every time I wrote a character, that it would be this version of me or an exaggerated piece of me, but that's not necessarily true with Stella or with Ivy or Reagan or Ellie. So, yeah, so mostly Eden would be like me. And my favorite comment that people give Eden is that she's so oblivious and stubborn. And those are actually the closest, I mean, those are like the biggest piece of me that I wrote into her. I am that oblivious. I am that stubborn, like stubborn to the point of fault, like of bad things happening to me because I'm so stubborn, and oblivious, like you would not believe. I mean, really, that's true. I cooked pizza with the cardboard underneath. Like, that stuff happens to me all the time. I am oblivious. And also, people are always like, well, she's blowing things up. Why isn't she, like, asking questions? Because if she's like me, which she is, she likes to pretend it doesn't exist. She has a very strong sense of self-denial. Like, whenever I'm sick or I think something's wrong with me, I just pretend it doesn't exist, and then eventually it goes away. Problem solved. I didn't need to go to the doctor. So maybe we should all take a note from Eden and stop judging her. But seriously, that's true. That is exactly me. So all you smart, observant girls, don't judge us less observant girls. We're people too. So, the next question: do any characters in the future die? And namely Lily. I can't tell you that. I mean, especially about Lily. I will say most likely in the future of my writing, somebody will die. Like, I can't say that somebody won't die because eventually somebody's going to die. Do I have anybody in mind right now? Yes. I do know of a few characters that are going to die. Is it Lily? I can't say. But I do know that I want her happily ever after as much as you do. I was so angry when she got taken again in The Reluctant King. And that's true. Like, I didn't see that coming. This is me being a pantser writer. Is like, I was just surprised. I was like, what? Not again? Can't the girl catch a break? Like, honestly. I was like, maybe she doesn't have to be taken. I was like, nope, she has to be taken. It was this very aggressive internal war with myself. So I really do want her happily ever after, and hopefully she gets it and she doesn't. Like, the Starcross series was originally intended, I talked about this last week, to be a tragedy. And I didn't make it that way. I didn't follow through. So hopefully Lily is not the tragedy in the series, because that would be honestly tragic. I would cry just as hard, if not harder, than you guys. Next question. That's enough about that. Who is the most fun to write, and who do I love writing the most? I get my most fun out of secondary characters. My primary characters are a lot of times they drive me crazy. They're too emotional. They're too whiny. They're too stubborn. They're too oblivious. Whatever it could be. They get on my nerves. I'm like, get over it. And just like Ellie in Bette in the Dark, I'm like, get over it. Okay, it's a little thing. Just go with Finn. And Ellie's like, but I'm not ready for Finn yet. And Finn's not ready for me. And he has to earn this. And I'm like, oh, fine, you're right. Fine. And I have those conversations a lot with my primary characters, especially my girls, because they like to make things difficult, don't they? If they would just give in, then the guy could swoop in and save the day, and the whole story would be fine. It would also be maybe all novellas, but what can you do? So I have my most fun writing secondary characters, like Sebastian. He is probably my favorite to write, and he's going to be a primary character, so we're going to see how that goes. But I love him. I do. I love him. I didn't know he was going to be in the story, and then when he came, I hated him. I'm like, who is this guy? He was driving me crazy. And then he redeemed himself, and I love writing him. I also love writing Silas and Gabriel. They're really fun to write together, and they're really fun to write when they interact with Eden or Kieran or Avalon. And then I love my girl best friends, Lily, I adore, and Piper, and Sloan and Exie, and Britt, and Haley, and Love, and Decay. I love my best friends, my girl besties. And then anytime there's like a boy that's a friend, I adore them as well. So Phoenix, love Phoenix. And Wrigley and Lincoln. Oh, sorry. I've always done. Sorry. Wrigley and Lincoln are fun and Starbright, and all the boys in the Starcross series. I love writing boys. I do. If you can't tell, I grew up with 3 brothers. I spend a lot of time with my husband and all his guy friends. Like, I just get along with guys, and I like making them decent human beings, because I think sometimes boys get a bad rap in female literature because they're the bad guys, or they're the ones like date raping or whatever. That's a bad example, but you know what I mean. Like, they get a bad rep a lot. So I like a good male, because there are so many out there, and so it's like that's what I like to feature. Who is my favorite character? My hardest question ever. Sorry, I'm wiggling. I don't know if I can answer this question. Honestly, like, I don't know. Probably Eden and Kieran. I'll pick 2. Because they're like my firstborn children. They're who I wrote first. They're who I fell in love with first. They fell in love first. And I do have, I mean, I have a secret first couple that you won't ever get to know. So they're in there too, but mostly it's Eden and Kieran because I saw their story through to the end. They're like, you know how like your children, like you love your firstborn, and they get the most attention, they get all the new stuff, they are loved, and they're perfect. They're like perfect kids. And then your secondborn comes along, and you love them just as much. You really do. Of course you do. But they're like, they talk back a lot more. And they're a lot more rambunctious. And your first one, you cry when you send them to school. And your second one, you kind of can't wait because then they'll stop screaming at you. Or it's just me. Anyways, that's how I feel about my characters. That's exactly how I would describe them. Like, Eden and Kieran, they are my firstborns. And Stella and Tristan and Seth are my secondborns. And they are difficult. They are. They want to be difficult. And then so forth and so on. And, you know, my last book will be my baby, but when will my last book be? I have no idea. No idea. So anyways, it's probably Eden and Kieran. But I also love Cherry Ivy. I do. She's so broken. Like, she's just different than anything I write. Like, she's different than my strong heroine because she's vulnerable and she's not as strong and she's needier. So she's just different. But um, that's all I have to say. Okay, and then last question. How do I write a hot kissing scene and where do I get my ideas? Which this is a good question, but more information than you want to know. No, I won't make it weird. I told you with my meal planning that I love formulas. Like, I love, if you can break it down and make it simple for me, that's how I want it, and I'll do it every time like that until I find a better, different way. But so when I write a kissing scene, like a hot one, it has to be like, the five senses. I try to hit each five sense. So a little bit about touching, a little bit about how he smells, a little bit about the kiss and what it feels like and the taste or whatever. I mean, I try to hit all five senses and then how it makes you feel inside too. So I add like a sixth sense. And that, like, to me, that defines a good kiss is like if I've hit every one of those, if you can not only imagine the scene, but how each of your senses would react to a kiss like that, then I've succeeded. And then the goal in that kissing scene is to make it memorable. So how do I write it differently than what's being written right now? But realistic, because I am all about the realism. Like, even though I write paranormal books, okay, like, I'm not going to write a zombie book where the girls are clean shaven in every book, because they're not. They're on the road, they're on the run, they're not going to have time or resources to shave their legs. So that kind of thing. Like, Stella can light up, like, with the heat of the sun, but she can't just do that living on Earth because she would burn away the Earth. She would melt everything around her. So, anyways, that kind of thing. So if I am doing a kissing scene, it has to be realistic. Like, it has to be, like, anatomically correct, first of all. It has to be physically possible. And it has to be, something that can stay sexy without, like, you know, like, people, I don't know how to explain it, but without being too real. I mean, it is fiction. I don't know how to explain it, but so sometimes you're reading a kissing scene and you're like, this is good, but how does this happen? How does this translate to real life? Like, could someone kiss me like that? No, they couldn't. So I like, unless they're somehow magical, like Stella and Seth could technically kiss up in the air because they can fly. Like Spider-Man and Mary Jane in that first terrible movie when he kisses Kirsten Dunst upside down. He could do that because he was Spider-Man, and it's cute. Whatever. But if they're like real people, can he hang upside down and kiss a girl and make it sexy? No, because all his head would rush to his brain and it would get awkward after a while. And plus, your hands touching each other are really super weird in weird places, and it looks awkward. So, does that make sense? Anyways, this is the longest vlog of my life and of your life. If you're wondering what you're still doing here, congratulations, you made it. Ah. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. Get your questions in for next week. Maybe I'll cut them in half so that it's not a 45-minute vlog. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and we will see you here tomorrow. Bye.